it's wonderful when people have a desire to understand church history. I think if we recognize that so much of the language we use has been bequeathed to us by those who came before us. And so many people will be converted, they'll go to church, they sort of automatically absorb the theological language without realizing that all of these terms were defined and put into place at periods in the past in the midst of normally great controversies. I think of people who don't know their church history are a people that are going to be much more easily misled than a people that do know their church history. And so where do we go? Well, thankfully, there are numerous excellent resources available. Not all equally exciting, to be honest with you. I won't disrespect who it was, but I described in seminary when I read the assigned long, as I recall, very small print text that we had to read on church history, that it was as exciting as chewing aluminum foil. And so there are some of those sources out there. I highly recommend to people Dr. Nick Needham's 4-volume series, 2,000 Years of Christ's Power. It's extremely understandable, and people in the pew. It was written for people in the pew by a wonderful scholar who is a dear friend of mine. But it's extremely useful. And of course, Schaff's History of the Christian Church still remains, I mean, it's dated, but it still remains one of the best out there. It's just 8 volumes long and involves a fair amount of Latin, Greek, and German. So that somewhat makes it a little bit less useful to some folks. But I think it's 1-volume church histories give me the hives, because they just require you to rush through things so fast that you don't really see where all the connections are. So if I'm going to read a 1-volume work on church history, I want it to be focused on one particular period so that it has enough pages to actually accomplish something. So I know there are some 1-volume church histories. I just regularly don't recommend them. They just have to move too quickly.